Cameron County now. Our Judge Eddie Trevino joining us. We got some business to catch up with. Oh my goodness, Judge, we got our butts kicked last week. Harlingen area, Mid Valley area, so much flooding. So take a couple of minutes. Status report. What do you see? You got some pumps out there. What can you tell me? I know people need to report, all sorts of damages. You get a threshold to cross. I understand in order to open up some federal funding. So what can you tell me, Judge?
That's correct, Sergio. We're asking, obviously, through all the means, media, social media, et cetera, all of the platforms, trying to get everybody to please report their damages. I know a lot of people are frustrated or upset, feeling that perhaps not enough is being done. But the reality of the situation is when you have such a huge amount of rain, 5, 10, 15, 20 inches or more in certain areas, no drainage system, no matter how modern and perfect it may be considered, can handle that type of inundation in such a short period of time. We're obviously wanting everyone to make those claims, report their damage because of that threshold that you mentioned earlier with regards to the federal government from a county-wide perspective in order to us to be eligible and to qualify for federal funding.
You got some persistent trouble spots. And by the way, a big thank you to our EOC chief, Tom Hushin. Thank you to Rolly Casas. They've been providing a lot of information. You and your crew still working some trouble spots that might be holding some water. You got pumps out there. What's going on in Cameron County?
Yes. There's still a couple of areas that really got hit hard, and are some of the more low-lying areas, and those are the problematic areas. So we're still addressing some of those. It's been receding well. Our concern comes this past Sunday was the runoff that we were expecting or concerned about from our friends in Hidalgo, because every time it rains up there, it ends up down here. But thankfully, it appears that the systems have all worked well. What is disappointing, if you can call it that, from this type of a rainstorm is that our Falcon Lake and Amistad didn't get any or hardly any. And all that runoff that we need, we could have definitely used for storage purposes upriver. So that is disappointing. National Weather Service obviously didn't anticipate and didn't give us the expectation that we were going to have such a heavy weather event. But that's Mother Nature, and I guess it just goes to show you never know.
An example of something they had, and I saw that was a moving target. By the way, they had mentioned last minute. They had mentioned Corpus. Corpus was going to get slammed with 10 plus inches of rain, and then all of a sudden, all the energy moves south of it. It's the ebb and flow of the atmosphere.
And it seems to have hit our northern part. When we've had these sudden storms or heavy storms, it seems to hit our northern part of the county and southern part of Hidalgo a little bit more than it does the other one. Brownsville, I think, got hit with between 5 and 7 inches, which over an extended period of time is still a lot of water, but nowhere near the 20 plus inches that Harlingen, the Primera, the Santa Rosa, La Feria, Los Fresnos, Rio Hondo, that they got hit with. So I do my thanks and my appreciation goes out to Tom and our emergency management team, Juan and Rolly and everybody else, because without them, I wouldn't be able to have these conversations with you. And they're unbelievable. In the time of crisis and emergency, they always come through.
And again, property owners, business owners, homeowners, you should go to the Cameron County website. Go look for ISTAT, report your damages. If I remember correctly, what Rolly told me, or Tom, they said it's not that much. It seems like what, $2 million threshold in damage, so that you can open up a new form of federal funding, more than
exactly. You have to get to that threshold to be eligible, and then of course we still have to document and be able to prove everything. But it gets harder and harder. And even when we do qualify, well, guess what? The check's not in the mail. It is, in storage, and they'll get to it down the road. But hopefully that won't be the case with regards to this, and hopefully they're refining FEMA's operations in a good way.
Yeah, and it's mostly on a reimbursable thing, right? It's
Absolutely.
You have to you're spending, the state is spending, and then we're waiting on FEMA or the federal government to cut a check for everything you spend. Our county judge for Cameron County, Eddie Trevino, joining us, and I want to ask you about, of course, one of the big economic development drivers is SpaceX. and they got a lot of infrastructure needs nearby. They're voting to, I guess, incorporate. Maybe it's a foregone conclusion. It might happen already. Only the people there are going to be voting for that. But what can you tell me real quick as far as the legislative session, lawmakers, text dot, because that road from the city to the beach that needs to be fattened up, and they need to improve that because man, there already is a lot of traffic. There will be a lot more traffic, but thousands more people working there, and of course, heavy equipment back and forth.
It was, Highway 4, Boca Chica highway, was never designed to be an industrial or workplace highway. So the expectation, it was after the fact. We've been working the last several years with TxDOT and SpaceX to come up with a design and a plan that would help address the current and future impact that we're expecting. If they continue to move their headquarters, which is what we're hoping and expecting,
Yeah.
you're talking on the low end anywhere from 2 to potentially 10,000 more individuals that are going to be working at or with SpaceX, either at on site or throughout the area. So we've got to do this, and I think it's critical also so that the people who want to continue to enjoy Boca Chica Beach have the ability to get over there, and the people who need to get to and from work have a safe roadway in which to drive on.
Are there any other infrastructure issues that the county needs to help at Boca Chica? Lay some more pipe, more power. I don't know. It just seems that it's growing by leaps and bounds. And if you get anywhere, like you said, between 2 and 10,000 more people, I'm sure a lot of them would be living on campus. Elon Musk is thinking of putting on his own little retail and water side little development thing. Sounds like a lot of county infrastructure and upkeep and roads and things like that need to happen like really quick.
Well, should the election be in the affirmative, i.e., that the star base is incorporated, that'll be a responsibility of that brand new municipality. So now, outside of that area, obviously there'll still be concerns, and we've been working on that, trying to figure out how we're going to help address it. But it's a short and a long term problem or issue that's going to be with us for a while. But no one could have anticipated the amount of growth and the impact that SpaceX is having when the initial idea was it was just going to be a launch facility for the Falcon 9.
Growth and prosperity and all the issues that branch out from it. That's a good problem to have, Judge.
They certainly are.
Judge for Cameron County, Eddie Trevino, joining us. And speaking of needs, I've asked you this before, Cameron County, we need a new special events center just for, like the local graduations, the university, UTRGV, the graduations, and we got Texas Southwest, all those things. And then you got special events, industry related events. It could be port related. It could be aerospace. You never know. There's so many opportunities now for special events. So this is an issue that I understand will be on the ballot here very, very soon, and people need to understand how it's being framed. So tell me about that.
Well, back in November of 2016, the voters of Cameron County approved the visitor or the venue tax, as we call it, and it authorized two projects that would be utilized if the vote was in the affirmative, if it was a positive vote, which was the Isla Blanca Amphitheater and the South Texas Ecotourism Center. We have now completed those projects. They are both in existence and operational. We've been working towards getting another project approved by the voters, because it needs to be approved by the voters in order to utilize a venue tax or visitor tax on it. And that's this multi-use arena. We saw in the last year that UTRGV has moved all of their graduation ceremonies from Brownsville for the Brownsville campus all the way to Edinburgh. A lot of people were upset and concerned about it, and we understand. But this is one of the reasons why, going back as far as 20 years when I was mayor, I was advocating for the need of a multi-use convention arena for community events such as graduation, musical events, concerts, sporting events, activities such as conventions and conferences. So we're hopeful that the third time's a charm. We think that the first two questions that any company asks when they're looking at an area is, tell me about your education and what is there to do from a quality of life standpoint. So from the education standpoint, I know we've been investing in all of our school districts. They're valley-wide. They're doing a great job in improving the courses and the work that they provide with our kids, especially with regards to STEM. Then the second part of that is we have to make sure that these families, whether they're local that have been born and raised here or where they're coming from outside of the area, that we provide them enough quality of life activities in order to be able to enjoy their evenings and their weekends. And it's also from a tourism standpoint, we want to continue to be bringing people down here, and we need to have those tourist attractions. So between the island, between Gladys Porter Zoo, everything else that's going on in Cameron County, the multi-use arena is critical to its future. And from a quality of life standpoint, I think the people and the residents of Cameron County should have the same amenities that our friends in Hidalgo and throughout the state and throughout the country have.
You mentioned the 2016 visitors tax, right? That is still being collected. So that would be the pool that would be used in order to create or help create the event center.
That's right. The venue visitor tax will not be by itself sufficient to pay for a new arena. That's not possible. But it would be that revenue source that we would be able to utilize to borrow against with regards to a portion of the arena. You're also looking at, we've developed or incorporated, created a TERS with the city of Brownsville for that area. So there would be public infrastructure there. The developers have donated tract of land, 30 to 40 acres for this project, which is critical. And the longer we wait and delay, it just becomes more and more expensive a project. So I'm hopeful, obviously, that we can get it done this time, because it's going to happen sooner or later. And by delaying, it's just going to end up costing us more. So this will be part and parcel of a public-private partnership that we're going to have to utilize and take advantage of.
All right, and hence the TERS that will help with the return on the investment made by the private sector on that. Okay, so this will be on the May ballot.
That's right, on the May 3rd ballot. It'll be it's a long ballot issue. The state of Texas requires all of the magic language to be in there, and I know some people will probably read it and fall asleep by the time they get to the end of it, or maybe even get confused. But all I can ask them is that to read it, maybe read it ahead of time, and to vote in favor for.
All right, Judge. Appreciate your time. We'll revisit this one again if you'd like. We can come back and revisit this one here pretty soon. Appreciate you, Judge. Judge Eddie Trevino, or Cameron County Judge. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.